Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So I came up with this really adorable idea to make a strawberry inspired Lolita kind of dress. I'm not really sure about the Lolita style, but I had fun researching and this is what I came up with. This is actually going to be like a 3-part video. We'll make the main dress in this video and then I am going to make some shoes and a cute beret. So watch out for those videos which will be following shortly. Okay, the strawberry dress. So I have a few pieces of this beautiful silk green. Other than that, I have found some pink fabric. Actually, I already had this at home and I designed the dress based on the fact that I had this. So I have this. And what I also realized I had that I bought secondhand was this fabric. So this is like fully beautiful design to it. So I'm hoping to use this, especially this little scalloped edge that I want to use for the bottom of the tier. And we'll see how we go from there. But this is going to be the petticoat skirt. And as for the pattern, I have done something. So we have the front t-shirt and the back t-shirt, of course. And my theory was, so if I just fold this in half, is if I make the adjustments like this and I just straighten this seam down. And the theory was just that I could make it out of my satin fabric rather than needing to do a fitted fabric because I want this to be nice and loose. I did heighten this, but I think we're gonna shorten that a bit because this is sitting really high. We'll get to that later. I can shorten this, but I can't add on. So yeah, I think I'll leave that for now. And then I did the same for the back. So these are the two pieces that I ended up with. They are very, straight, you know, just straight, but that's okay. Now for the sleeve, I did this before as well. Like whenever I need to make an adjustment to a sleeve pattern, so like a poofy sleeve. The idea is to take a sleeve, so I just printed off another copy of the Sequoia jacket that I had at that moment and I cut slits into this. So this will allow me to space it out. And the idea is to space all of these out evenly. You can trace the length that you want and now you have like a wide sleeve and this will allow me the poof that I need. So I'm just gonna draw that on some pattern paper. Just a little side note, I wasn't sure how long to make it, so I did end up going longer and then forgetting to trim it later on. So yeah, probably should have made that a bit shorter. Okay, so after some investigating, I found out that this is actually a pillowcase. So our opening is right here. And I don't actually know, but this here wraps around the pillow and the little end bit that I mentioned before is thankfully two-sided and it's just stitched there. So I need to do a lot of unpicking because I want to salvage as much of this as possible. Since the skirt will have 3 tiers, I thought it would be a good idea to have a base skirt to sew each tier onto, since I wanted them overlapping. So that's what I've got here. And I'm also going to be overlocking all the edges to make sure it doesn't fray. Okay, so the next step is to get some ruffles. So we're going to be gathering this one and this one and this one. So 3 of them we're going to be ruffling. And I want to do that by gathering. So the best way to do that for the gathering is to adjust your stitch length. So you can see here my stitch length. I'm gonna go up and you can see it getting longer. So 6 is the longest that I can go. And I'm just gonna do 2 rows right next to each other. So just on here, I'm gonna go 1 and 2, and that will give me really nice even gathers. If you want to, you can also make small pleats, but I wanna go with the gathers. just gonna go ahead and do a second line. Now together I'm just pulling the two top threads to the top and then pulling those nice and tight. Or at least as tight as I want my gathers to be, so keep that in mind. So I've got the first layer here. I've gathered that to be just about the right length to fit onto the bottom of the skirt here. And then I'm going to be taking my time to pin this in place, making sure I'm leaving the right side out. And this is where you would normally have them right side together and flip it over. This one I purposely pinned with the right side facing towards me, as it doesn't get flipped over anyway. Just keep in mind to watch your gathers since they do like to move, so use a few more extra pins that you would normally do just to make sure your gathers don't shift too much. And then just a simple top stitching over that. And that is layer 1 done. Yay! You get to repeat that 3 more times. I mean, 2 more times, technically. And then for the second layer, I have a little bit of a narrower strip, mostly because like the fabric wasn't any thicker. So I'm just making sure to layer that second layer really close to the first one to make it not look as if it's a little less long. You know what I mean? And then I'm just going through that, making sure it's the right length, pinning that in place and sewing that in place. And then repeating that 1 more time for the last piece. So technically all 3 of my layers are all the exact same length, and then I just gathered them more to fit, which gave me more gathers, but on a small scale this also gives me more bulk. So just keep that in mind if you do want to make this. Just cut down on the top layer length to have it less bulky. But I managed to hide it pretty decently well, so I'm okay with it. And that is the skirt, mostly done. We just need to add a waistband and then close it up in the back. So here I am. I have got some more of that really pretty fabric. I am ironing the ends towards the middle, so it's going to be like a 3-fold. So folding the 2 ends to the middle and then folding it in half. And this is actually a really thin strip that I'm doing here, and I did end up making another one that was a bit wider to fit over the top of the rough sew-in bit. So yeah, there we go. That is what it's looking like. I did leave a longer bit for the closure. Wasn't necessarily needed, but I thought it could be nice just to have a bit more extra room to tighten it. And of course, closing the back was just simple sewing line, leaving like a gap at the top to fit her booty through. And now we just need to add the closure, so like a little clip or a button or a, I don't know, safety needle, whatever you want. You can thread it, sew it closed. You can choose. Just be smart about it. There we go. I'm just doing a snap button because that's the smart thing to do in this case. Okay, enough about that. Let's continue with the top. And yes, this green is a lot more green in real life. It's just my camera doesn't like to pick it up. So yeah, I've got a front, I've got a back, and I've got 2 sleeves. So let's get to it. So I did cut out a piece of interfacing and ironing that onto the sleeves. Now we're gonna just continue with the main body, and we're gonna start by sewing the 2 shoulder seams together. That's it, just the shoulder seams. And yes, I did forget to not sew the sides and leave just the shoulder seams, so here's proof that I make mistakes too, because I get too excited and start sewing everything without thinking it through. So yeah, gonna unpick that now. At least it's small scale and it's not like I have to unpick a whole garment yet. Alrighty, back to those sleeves. So I want to gather those sleeves so I can put like an elastic-y band on there. Like this is a knit fabric. I just want to have that bit of stretch just in case. So yeah, I needed to fit that knit fabric, not elastic, so we're gonna gather it down. So we can do that by sewing 2 lines and then pulling those nice and tight, just like we did on the skirt. Yay! Gathering! It's not like we have anything else to do with our lives. And once that's gathered to the right length, it is time to attach it to that piece of knit fabric. So yeah, also that piece of knit fabric is just folded in half so that we have like a nice finished cuff end. Now, I did also decide just to do a single kind of gathering stitch on the top. So that's going from the front all the way to that back, kind of like the top edge, the curve. And that is mostly just to make sure that it fits in the armhole from my pattern. And that's because of the adjusted, it might not fit exactly. So I have a little gathered so that it will fit. And now we insert those sleeves into the sides of the top. And this is why we don't sew the sides yet, because this is just a lot easier. And mostly the reason that I forget to leave it open is because I also do sewing for myself. And then I would actually sew the sides and then put the sleeve in there. But because this is so small, and then it's not even as small as I could potentially make it. But because this is really small, I can't actually get that sleeve in there when the side is already closed, unless I sew it by hand. So that's why we're leaving the side open for now. And you can of course also use this technique when sewing big garments for yourself or for friends or whatever you want to do. So yeah, keep that in mind. It is just a little trick. You can use it however you want. And now we sew up the bottom of the sleeve and then go down into the side seam. Now we get to close it. Yay! And you can of course also hem the bottom of your garment before closing up the ends, or like the sides I mean by that. I somehow always seem to forget to finish closing that up because I also don't like how it looks when it's, you know, when you've got that side seam and you see the little seam because it's uneven. So that's mostly why I end up doing the hemming afterwards. But for this garment, I don't actually need to worry about a hem since you won't see it anyway. It'll get a dress over the top of it. So yeah, I did hem the neckline of course. And then just a little final touch, I did add some embroidered daisies, or like the strawberry flowers you would see on there. So the sleeves did actually end up a bit longer than I would have liked, but I'm okay with it. For the top of the dress, I sewed a princess seam neckline, and I'm just going to be attaching those, the sides and the top, leaving the bottom open and flipping it inside out. Why is sewing always so interesting? So one moment it is too big, and the other moment after you've finally decided just to sew it because it's too big, it's too small. Oh, I just let it go. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, so it's too small. Yeah, I don't know how this happened, quite honestly. Like, it was so big before that these panels fully overlapped each other. So I don't really know. I think my only option right now is just to give it a lace up back. That's how you solve problems. Yeah, and then we're just gonna continue with the overskirt. And the overskirt better fit properly like this one here does. But I don't want to sew this again. Otherwise I would just sew this again, but this was too much an effort. So yeah, I think we're gonna give the lace up back because I can tighten it this much if I actually have it on properly. Let's talk about the dress for a second. Yay, it's done. And I'm really sorry, I did film it, but apparently I lost my footage. But if you remember the dress that I made for spring last year, then this is actually kind of like the same idea for the skirt. I just trimmed it and then added a cute little ruffle as well as a green ribbon to add to it. So yeah, that's mostly that skirt portion done. So yeah, again, I'm sorry. Also, what I showed you just before, I did add some little eyelid holes with the sewing machine. It was just a setting I could do, so I tried it out. And I'm using some pink embroidery floss that matches the dress to lace it up like a corset. So yeah, I'm just going to be threading that through and all of that. Again, I'm really sorry I didn't film it, or at least I don't have the footage to show you. I really don't know what happened. At the end of each of the embroidery floss ends, I am making a couple of knots just to prevent them from being pulled out, and I will have to rethread them, which I don't want to do. And this is what it's currently looking like. Pretty nice, but we are missing a couple of details. I mean, it's a strawberry dress. Where are the strawberries? Also, I'm still debating whether or not I want to add some straps. But look at that pretty skirt. I love it. Like, it's so fluffy, and then the pink layer over it is perfect. So yeah, let's get on to the next part, and that is actually going to be the strawberries. Now, this first strawberry that I'm making here, you can actually kind of forget about because I made it too big. So yeah, I thought it was going pretty good, and then I started realizing that compared to Izzy, this is actually pretty big. And it is. I'll show you a couple of photos later on, but I did include the strawberry in the photo shoot because I thought it was really cute anyway. Alright, so these strawberries are the actual strawberries that I ended up using for her dress. So I made a one to start off with, and then I made like 5 of them in total, so 4 more, as well as a little flower just for the fun accessories. Now, you may be wondering, no, this video is not going to have the tutorials on how to crochet this strawberry, and that's mostly because this is already really long, and if I were to include that, then we would actually be here for another hour, and I don't want that. Anyway, here you can see the difference between the two sizes that I ended up making, as well as how much better the small one looks. So the big one is really big, like she can hold it in one hand. It's like a giant compared to her. And then this little one is also big, but it's a bit more decent. And yeah, so basically those little strawberries, 3 will go onto her skirt, and then 2 will go on as her little straps. And then the big one is just there to be big. So yeah. Also the little flower, that will be explained in the barrette tutorial if you're curious. And this is what it looks like. So cute. I love the little accessory of these strawberries on the side. They really tie it together, and it really does make it the strawberry dress that I was going for. So yeah, I did actually have the other 2 strawberries on her shoulder straps, but they are just tucked in the back since I wanted to show you these straps as they are first without the overwhelming look. And there you go, those are the strawberries and the big strawberry. I love it. This is such a cute outfit, and I really hope you enjoyed this just as much as I enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, it really helps my channel out, and leave a comment down below on any ideas or questions you may have. I will happily answer those, and I will see you all next time. Bye!